Therapy is very much connecting to be your richest internal self. How you feeling? How you moving? How you doing? Balls. It just be coming off the tongue so crazy, like, you feel me? Like, anyway, so welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about therapy, what it's done for me so far, how it can help you. Just giving a little, you know, background to give a little filler as to what therapy is really about as it pertains to my situation and how it can help you. I'm not forcing nothing down your throat. I'm just here to let you know how I'm moving and how I'm feeling, and it's looking real. It's looking enriched. I look like I gotta, you know, I feel like I've exfoliated my heart. You heard? So if you interested in knowing if therapy is for you and know about how my therapy experience has enriched my life so far, keep watching, keep thriving, get your tea, get your liquor. I don't know what you want to sip on, but you know, just sit back, relax, get the stats. That's all I got. How you feeling? How you living? Long time no see, or if it's a short time, good to see you. What am I giving? So we're gonna talk about therapy. It's not gonna be heavy, but you know, especially geared towards therapy for black girls website aside that username, but just saying in general, therapy for black girls and boys, black people. Therapy for black people is what I really should be just. You know, it means something. It matters. I have just recently turned a invisible 30 years old, and I decided to take it upon myself to actually begin seeking out for myself therapy. There's been times, you know, when I was younger, my parents have put me in therapy, but it was more so anger management rather than therapy, even though anger management is a version of therapy, but anger management don't feel like therapy. It just feel like just calling you a rager and fix her. I say therapy for black people because I 2 years ago did have a therapist that was appointed to me that I chose that was appointed to me by my airline job, and I only had 2 sessions with him, but 1, it was a man, and 2, he was white, and 3, he was definitely over 70. 65 was his youngest age he could have been, because you never know with white folks, no shade. But yeah, so 2 years ago I did have therapy for a minor/major breakdown. That's how I got my first adult therapist. That experience was mid. You know, like, if I want to keep it a buck, it was mid. He either said 2 statements or asked me 2 questions that had some lingering thought to me to this day. A couple of slappers, but only a couple. But at the end of the day, we not getting into therapy to only get the surface cracked. We want everything bust open. You heard? Like, by the time you decide to invest in therapy, you should be willing to go all out. You should be willing to accept things about yourself that you did. You know, it's something that you have to dive into. You don't have step therapy, or you're not ready for therapy, or you're wasting your time and your money if you decide to not show up as your full self. So, you know, I showed up, but I couldn't help but feel like there was so much he could tell me. 1, you're not even a woman. You don't even bleed like how I bleed. You don't talk how I talk. You don't move how I move. You don't feel what I feel. You're a man. You're a white man. Old white man. So I don't even know what's distilled in you against black people in your subconscious without you knowing, you know? My black therapy journey began after my birthday. I turned 30 this year on June 26th, invisibly, because I'm gonna try again next year since everything was shut down. That was already a downer that I couldn't experience the celebration of being a big body bitch. You know, like 30 ain't something, like, you know, like there's 18, 21, 30. And then anything after that is like, all right, you know, 40, 50, you know, something like that. What led me to get therapy was, 1, it was retrograde. I had a lot of unresolved things hanging over my head. I was kind of already depressed before I went out to LA. Okay, like I've been depressed before my birthday, and it was unrelated things. You know, COVID got a funny way of just making you relive the same day over and over. It could be Tuesday on a Thursday, and I would never fucking know. That's what my mind is at. I did some acid. If you caught my live, you see me, you know, dabble. And a lot of things inside my head, like, I didn't have a bad trip. I had very much a mental unhinging kind of trip. I do want to be alive. I do want to give my best self and present my best self, and I do want to show up for y'all. I'm happy that I'm able to nourish strangers, and it's very fulfilling to me to know that I in some way changed your lives. It is definitely a rewarding feeling that no one else can describe really outside of those words. It's such enriching stuff that be happening on my YouTube channel between us. Love you down, pat yourself on the back. Ah, you that bitch, I love y'all. But after doing acid, like, I realized that I can no longer self-diagnose myself. Like, there's times where you think like, okay, you could write it out, you could journal about it, you can talk to your homegirls about it, maybe, you know, like, but there's so much a peer can tell you about yourself in perspective when they're not, you know, they not a therapist, you know, like, jokingly so, but dead ass, they not a therapist. You know, you can tell your friends, talk to your friends about it, but they ain't got the answers. They're not trained to have the answers. Everybody just has what they have experience from, you know? That being said, I woke up off my trip and immediately opened the website Therapy for Black Girls. I had it. There was things that I was in my head circling around, me trying to give myself the answers to my problems. Clearly, I don't have the answers, is what I felt when I woke up. I think that I can be myself to me what I am to y'all. You know, like, I had an experience, I can speak on it, you could take what you want from it and you can interpret it yourself. And at least I'm saying words out loud for y'all to, you know, interpret and pick apart and see what can work for you or that don't work for doing it with yourself. Like, I'm not talking out loud to myself, you feel me? Like, I'm just letting shit go in my head round and round, putting shit in the back burner. Sorry, I'm cursing. You know, in the back crevices of my brain, thinking that if I suppress it, it's gonna be all right. You know, unconsciously thinking that if I suppress it. Don't even know I'm suppressing it until I realize it came back up in something so random, you know? So, therapyforblackgirls.com, I learned about via my best friend, because she's clearly awesome. Duh. So I went on there. It's kind of like looking for an apartment, but not as strenuous, you know? When you get on the website, it's not like it has a one and done, one-stop shop kind of therapist you can look for. You have to, you know, filter it to your state, your area. You have to keep in mind if you're gonna pay out of pocket, if your insurance is accepted, like, there's other factors. And then after you choose those filters, you need to take the time to read the women that they have to offer. I think they may be men on there too, but I obviously went on there for a black woman, someone like me, someone relatable, someone that understands our struggles, unconsciously, consciously. I need someone that is like me. It really matters. It makes a difference, and I'm gonna tell you why soon. But you need to go through their profile, read them, and see which person of how they explain their practice and what they have to offer and what they heal and what they help you work towards, what is in your language. My therapist, her bio spoke to me, but I also emailed 4 women. Of those 4 women that I emailed, because obviously it's still a pandemic, so the certain services are kind of limited per se, but you know, they not all available. Like the whole like sitting down inside, and you know, like some practice, some people were not prepared to have at-home virtual kind of therapist situation. So I emailed 4, reached out to 4 from the website. I only heard back from 2. Of those 2 is the beautiful woman I have now, and one other one. One took insurance, one didn't. I happen to be the person that had so much trauma, built up stuff, that I chose the lady that did not do insurance. She didn't go through insurance. I don't know if it's because she's not at the offices. I'm not sure what the reason was. Didn't really ask. I was in a panic mode anyway. Didn't matter. Just take me, bitch. Like, don't matter. Because if I used my insurance with the other lady, it would have been free. But there was something about the one I chose that I could tell from my intuition and my instincts and my Cancer psychic abilities that we was meant to be. Okay, now we got that out the way. What's next? Oh, I've been looking for my contour. I dropped that shit like 2 days ago. Can't find it. Her name is Asia. Beautiful. Energy is just so amazing. So after she emailed me back and gave me her practice, and I knew I had to come out my pocket, you know, whatever. Because what led me to even go forward with it, when I woke up with my, sorry to just bring it back real quick. When I woke up with my acid trip, first person I called, I almost called Tata, but something in me just made me want to call my mother. I called my mother, and I told her about how my trip was, and she said, it sounded like you had a lot of revelations. And I told her, like, I just finished applying for seeking out a lot of therapists, and she told me, like, yeah, it's time, like, you need to talk to somebody, and not in a way that it was condescending, but in a healing, figure yourself out, enrich yourself type of way. And I'm so happy and grateful that my mother like gave me that push, giving our history to make me feel safe and secure enough to go through with it. And she was like, and you know, I'll pay for some. I was like, all right, well, girl, if you're gonna pay for a couple of sessions, then you know, well, who am I to say no? you know, well, for one thing, my mother gonna pay for some shit. That's a boss bitch. We've been meeting on Mondays, virtually on the computer, so it's definitely look out for the women that can get you on the computer, like I said. How therapy has changed me in only my second session is so enriching and mind-boggling to me. The questions that my therapist asks me after I just let it out, because at first you're gonna feel like, where do I even start? And there's gonna be some of y'all that just know what y'all got on your mind. Y'all need to, and let it go. Her job is, as a therapist, he or she, I'm gonna say she because I'm a girl, so keep that in mind for the rest of the video. Her job is to listen, accept, and assess. Like, your therapist should not make you feel, obviously, like you're being judged. You should not feel uncomfortable to share with your therapist. You should choose a therapist that makes you feel at ease to share. Yes, there's a difference between you just being a little weirded out for it being your first time, but then, you know, come on now, like, you should be able to share with ease. Don't be ashamed. A good therapist will remind you of that throughout you venting, per se. Because honestly, there's certain things that we think we could just like talk to Kiki about with our friends, but our friends are not equipped to, and they're not professionals enough to help us with these statements. And therapy should not be looked at or sound like you're a nutcase. Therapy is very much connecting to be your richest internal self. Therapy is about assessing and ending bad practices you may have been doing towards yourself. I'll be vulnerable with you and I'll be open with you and tell you that a piece of what my therapy is healing is what I didn't even know what is the center of a lot of my hurt and issues and problems, and second guessing is being vulnerable. I didn't know that I had a problem with being vulnerable until everything I'm saying, because you know, they take their notes, they write it down, they got the receipts. My shit is being vulnerable. I don't know what happened to, well, we're still figuring out how it became so deep rooted. I don't know, I be self-diagnosing myself so that I don't feel hurt by somebody else doing it to me. She's been teaching me that to be vulnerable is to be brave and to be strong, but I've been teaching myself that being vulnerable is making me pussy. Like, I don't know how else to say it, but it's making me pussy. And she keeps telling me to remind myself that if I feel a way about something, then it's valid. I shouldn't ask if someone else, like, if I think if it's okay for me to feel this way. If I feel a certain way towards something, it's valid. It's valid. And I never really had anyone validate those kind of feelings within me or teach me to unlearn self-sabotage, essentially. A lot of that I can owe to the fact that it's a black woman that understands what our generations ahead of us birthed. What the generations ahead of us didn't get, so that when they birthed us and we looking at them like, yo, like, I think I'm gonna need me a hug. I love you. I think I'm gonna need an apology. Like, they birthed them kind of kids, but they wasn't birthed by them kind of parents. Like, they was birthed by holding it down, no verbal affirmations, no physical affirmations. Like, some of us, me included, that's what we were raised with. And it's not that it was a personal attack against us, but sometimes we internalize it as if it was. At least I did. I'm gonna speak for myself. And I need to bake. I ain't gonna hold you, I forgot what I said before I started baking, but I asked her, like, what is vulnerable? And to me, for her, vulnerability is asking. Vulnerability is honoring things within yourself. And she's telling me that people are scared to be vulnerable because they're afraid of a no in something, in some instances. And I've had a few no's that I know that I will pre-clip a clip for myself, even if for me just thinking it's about to be clipped, you know, like. And when she says certain things back to me out loud, I'm gagging like, wow, it's pretty dumb that I'm doing this, but okay, we're gonna get down to the bottom of how we cannot do this in the future. Like, there's certain things that I could tell it's gonna matter. Like, it's gonna change how I treat people, how I treat myself, first and foremost. Like, a lot of unhinging conversations are happening. Like, even I had like a mishap with my friend recently while I was in LA on my birthday. If without my therapist, word too, without my therapist, I would have probably let that friendship rot. Like, I am the type of person that either I'm over raging about it to you because I feel some type of way. And she told me it's all right to say I feel languages. I felt some type of way about something in the moment, but naturally, my response is to be disrespectful. Anger is a part of vulnerability. You know, I felt like this, so now I want to make you feel like what I felt, you know. Obviously she's teaching me why I would want to go that route, but I didn't go that route. But if I don't go the anger route, I'm not going to talk to you. Like, I'm gonna mute your profile. I'm gonna mute your stories on Instagram. Yeah, we friends, but I'm about to clip you as you chopped. Like, I'm not doing it with you. Like, you made me feel some type of way. Now I don't even want you existing like around me. So she told me, because I wasn't really gonna say anything, I was just gonna be passive aggressive and just ignore the situation and ignore my feelings toward the situation, even though it happened on my birthday a month ago on June 26th, even though it happened that long ago. I feel like if it took too long for me to bring it up, I feel like it's petty. And she keeps telling me, like, every time you say I feel, it doesn't mean wrong. Like, it doesn't mean like I have to keep reminding myself. And she says that it's okay to feel. We're human beings and it's okay to feel. And I haven't had anyone speak to me in that type of tongue. Like, yes, your family can love you. Yes, your cousins and shit, they could have love for you. Your mother could have love for you. But there's certain conversations that some parents ain't having with their kids. And I'm not someone that gets those kind of conversations often enough to my liking, that service me, that teaches me how to communicate to other people when I feel some type of way. She helped me learn how to express myself without feeling like my vulnerability makes me pussy. One, that is a hard thing to do, because to get me to not want to be a rude person if you made me feel some type of way, if you hurt my feelings. And honestly, I hate to normalize but people hurt your feelings. People can hurt your feelings. And sometimes I felt like my problem being at the center of the theme of my therapy is the fact that I am not with it when it comes to being vulnerable. And hurt my feelings sounds like a vulnerable ass thing. Like, I don't want no one to tell me they hurt my feelings. I don't want no one to say, yo, Sade, I hurt that bitch feelings. No. But it's a fact. She hurt my feelings when she did something to me. And my therapist in this same day was able to help me formulate words and express myself without me feeling like my vulnerability was a cross to bear. And I think if someone can make me feel like that, I would encourage my other black women and black men to get a therapist if you need it. If you think you need it, you probably do. If anyone knows, if they've ever hit me up on Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, DM, and they're like, yo, Sade, I need your opinion on something, I need to talk, I'm a hotline away. 1-800-BIG-BIDI ain't a joke. You feel me? Like, I'm down to ride for you. There are some instances where people don't have the answers, and sometimes you need an unbiased individual to give you some guidance that can hear your words and what you're saying for what it is and not have emotion behind it because they lived it with you, if that makes sense. Bronzer! Shout out to Rihanna, even though we're gonna keep manifesting some type of Rihanna collaboration. I don't care if it's Fenty Beauty or Savage, but I'm claiming it. It's mine. One of these days, it's gonna make sense. We're gonna link up and it's gonna be what it's supposed to be from a minute ago. Word. Cause it's Bronzer, gathering the girls up.
It smells good in here.
Yes, my candle and the Palo Santo.
What's Palo Santo?
Can you close the door behind you for me? Okay, my nephew is gone. Sorry about that intermission of being an auntie, but I'm trying to be a nicer girl. Word to therapy. But yeah, y'all, don't be afraid to seek help, and don't be ashamed that you may need help. It's better to get the better answers than to act like your peers got the answers, in my opinion. I've done a lot. I've done 30 years of thinking I can answer my own questions, and after my only two therapy sessions, the answer is no. But half of my results are coming from me wanting to do the work, and the other half being it coming from a person that is relatable to me, in my opinion. I think that the fact that I have a Black woman therapist helps a ton, more than I know. Me opening up and what she has to say. Not for nothing, a white man can't tell me nothing about my Black mother. Yeah, he can tell me about a mother, maybe, but they can't tell me about nothing about Black culture. We're used to going through is in our family tree, if there's anything that's trickled down trauma. You heard? So this ain't sponsored. You know, I ain't that girl yet. I would like to add or contribute to knowing that help is okay. After being in therapy right now and paying out of pocket, so therefore I know that I'm getting to pay my money twice and for a third time to come. That's how much I like therapy. And it's an ode to my therapist and the experience. So it's very important who gets it out of you, because yeah, when I did therapy 2 years ago, it didn't feel like I should go back. Having someone relatable really means a lot. I don't know why I couldn't have done this sooner. If you feel as though you're overwhelmed mentally and you're like myself, where it feels like you have an iPhone that does not have the capacity anymore to hold anything else in, it's time for therapy maybe. It's time to give that to someone else that is professionally trained. It's time to give that to someone else that is professionally trained to get your mind right. We go to professionals for almost everything else, but sometimes we are too ashamed to go to people for our health, our mental health. Therapy definitely is an investment for the better. And I think it should be way more accessible, but that's a conversation for another day. Done right can just unlock so many better vessels within yourself. Like so many that I can't even believe that I'm about to come out this being like a way more like self-sufficient, harder working, healthier boundary setting self. Like, and as you've grown to know me, think that what she had to offer is something that could help you. You could just comment on this or DM me on any of my social platforms and I'll give you her website. I would hate to force my therapist onto you. You know, like not everybody is going through the same symptoms. Somebody may have, you know, a different therapist may suit you better. Not to say mine ain't it, cause she's that girl. But they should have never introduced me to new gloss. I swear to God. My favorite lip combo these days been Makeup Forever's Dimensional Dark Brown Pencil, NYX Ginger Snap Gloss. And we did it, and we're cute, and I'm about to close my blinds. All right, we made it to the end. This is the final look. How do we like it? How do we do? I look cute, it's hot outside, don't mind. The American Apparel, okay, from 2000 and who knows when. Okay, y'all, we have made it to the end, and we talked about some pretty hefty things. I used this Morphe palette, 18A. Blue Yellow Weight is the palette that I used. I used this color first when y'all saw me first put it on. Then I mixed these two shades together. If you get this palette, you'll know. I started with this one, then I mixed these two together in between to get this on my lid color, and then I highlighted my inner corner and the tail of this little flare out situation with this color right here. All right, so if you do get this palette, I recommend it on Crip. I love this palette, so I'm proud of you, I'm proud of me. Yeah, therapy is changing me piece by piece, brick by brick, and I'm thankful to God for it. Swear to God, I wouldn't trade the experience I'm going through right now for anything. If you ever feel like you're wavering and you're a Black woman, please go to therapyforblackgirls.com. An amazing vessel to get to what you need to get to. Health over wealth, period. You heard? So that being said, see you in my next video because we're about to do a little story time. Okay? Enjoy. See ya. Hate to go, but I'm on the back. Don't worry. Where my drink at?